Outgoing Attorney General Brad Schimmel is making a suggestion that's upsetting some conservatives about a growing industry.
And a Beloit homicide suspect appears in court for the first time. What we are learning about the case.
This is News 3 at 6.
And thanks for joining us. We will get to those stories in a moment, but we first want to go to some news just into our newsroom.
The Sauk County Sheriff's Office is attempting to locate 20-year-old Jamie Goodyear. She was last seen in the Reedsburg area on Thanksgiving Day. The Sauk County Sheriff says she has dyed red hair and a lot of tattoos. She may be walking with a limp. Anyone with information should call the Sauk County Sheriff's Office at 608-365-4895. Should farms that hold weddings and events in their barns be required to have a liquor license?
Well, the issue has created an ongoing conversation. This month, Attorney General Brad Schimmel gave his opinion, saying yes, they should. And Amanda Quintana talked to local wedding venue owners about how this requirement could change their business. Amanda.
Yeah, it definitely could. Attorney General Brad Schimmel gave his opinion about a statute that says a public place must have a liquor license, but it doesn't define a public place. So is a barn public or private? He believes it's public and should be responsible for all alcohol.
Ceremonies are typically over near the oak tree.
On this 530-acre farm in Deerfield, more than 400 couples have said I do, many inside this converted dairy barn.
Obviously, we don't have tractors in here during the dinner.
Dave and Betsy Mule have been hosting weddings and events here for almost 14 years, just 6 months out of the year.
You want to make it your day, your tastes, your flavors, your background, your flowers, stuff like that. We are pretty much a do-it-yourself type venue.
The wedding party also brings their own alcohol, even home brews. It can't be sold, but it can be served. Mule doesn't have to, but gets a licensed bartender to do it.
They do watch for underage drinking. They watch for over-serving, so they know how to slow people down or actually cut them off.
Attorney General Brad Schimmel now saying farms like this one should have to operate as a public space, requiring a liquor license. But many say it could hurt small businesses.
This is really agritourism. When you're at a working farm like you're on this one, this is agritourism. We bring people from all over the world to Little Badger Farms.
This rustic, woodsy wedding look is gaining popularity. The Fields Reserve in Stoughton was built just for it.
It's very Wisconsin.
Unlike most of their competitors, this venue does have a liquor license.
We wanted to do it. Wanted it to be a part of our business, part of the convenience of getting married here. We wanted to be able to provide that to our guests.
But the owners say others shouldn't be forced to follow their path and take on the liability.
We don't think it's fair for them to have to go get their liquor licenses when they're not really the ones dispensing the alcohol.
Schimmel's stance is his opinion, and of course, when AG-elect Josh Kaul takes office, he could have a different opinion. Kaul has not responded to our request for comment, but I did speak to someone with the Department of Revenue, and they say this is all on their radar and something they're discussing.
All right, Amanda Quintana reporting. Amanda, thank you. Take a live look right now at the Capitol. Another chilly day, and it'll be another cold evening as well.
Meteorologist Dana Fulton is in the Weather Center with your first alert forecast. Dana?
Now, what you can't see there, of course, the clouds overhead. We had quite a cloudy sky today. We were kind of hoping for a little bit of clearing this afternoon, and that just didn't happen. We will see a little bit overnight. Right now, though, we do actually have some light flurries moving through southeast Wisconsin. Nothing in Madison. A little bit ago, we did see some, but as you can see, it's all sliding out of here now. Still towards Janesville, dealing with that light snowfall. Trace amounts, you'll see it on the ground, on the grass, but nothing really accumulating for us over towards Milwaukee. They're seeing a little more snow. Temps are chilly. We're close to 20 in Madison, dropping just a few degrees since sunset. 25 in Janesville right now. And compared to this time yesterday, it's a few degree drop. That breeze still coming from the northwest, cool air moving in. And it's helping our wind chill temperatures, what it feels like outside, stay quite low. Feels a little closer to 12 degrees in Madison. Thankfully, the breeze not picking up too much for us overnight. Temps, though, will be warming up. As we head into tomorrow, we'll be in the upper 20s for afternoon highs, and that's going to kick off a warming trend all the way through the weekend. We'll take a closer look at that 10-day in just a few minutes.
Dana, thank you. Police are still investigating a shooting that happened the night before Thanksgiving in Beloit. They answered questions about it this evening.
Amy Reed joins us live from the police station to tell us what they said. Amy?
Yeah, with just under a week separating us from the night of the shooting last Wednesday to now, there's not too much information that the police can release quite yet, but here is what we do know. Ezekiel Acosta, who made his first appearance in court today, is charged with first-degree intentional homicide. Police said he shot 49-year-old Jose Reyes multiple times. Acosta said Reyes entered his home uninvited and he was shooting him to get him out. However, the chief here in Beloit said the district attorney still wants to pursue charges. They couldn't give us an idea for a motive, and they said there's still a lot to be determined, even with how Reyes and Acosta knew each other, if they did at all.
This is still an active investigation in terms of many avenues, particularly the relational aspects between the victim and the suspect, and the victim and members of that household. So we are still actively investigating the background to all of this as to what led up to the confrontation and the death of Mr. Reyes.
Police said they had been to this house on the 1700 block of Harrison Street before, but they don't know that the calls were related to Acosta. They said they hadn't had any prior contact with the victim here, Mr. Reyes, but they don't know yet why he came to this house last Wednesday. Now, today, the judge delayed Acosta's hearing on the request of the defense attorney, but he's scheduled to be back in court on Friday to discuss his bail. Back to you.
Amy, thank you. The Tree Lane family apartments opened just 5 months ago, and police have already been called to the building more than 200 times.
Our Dave Caulfield joins us in the news center with more on what officials are doing to help solve these issues. Dave?
Well, Eric and Charlotte, it was a shooting last week at the apartment building that sent a woman to the hospital that made everyone collectively say enough is enough. I spoke to Sherry at Salons Etc. today, right across the street from the apartment building. She says that some of her coworkers and her clients are considering leaving because of all the recent disturbances. Madison 9th District Alder Paul Skidmore says building management, which is Heartland Housing, has failed to provide any semblance of security. According to Skidmore, visitors can come and go as they please, which leads to most of the problems at the building.
This neighborhood does not have confidence in Heartland or this project, and now Heartland is going to be in a rebuilding phase.
Now today, in response to the rash of incidents, Madison Mayor Paul Soglin made Deputy Mayor Gloria Reyes an emergency site manager of sorts. She'll collect data, give advice to Heartland Housing, and provide the mayor with a full report of what the next steps should be in the next few weeks. Now, Heartland Housing issued a statement today saying they are looking forward to working closely with Deputy Mayor Reyes, and they appreciate the community's ongoing support as they work to create a safe and secure environment at Tree Lane.
Dave Caulfield in our news center. Dave, thank you. Republican state senators are a half a dozen votes short of the support they need to pass a tax break bill for paper giant Kimberly-Clark. That bill is designed to keep the company's plant open in northeastern Wisconsin by providing up to $100 million in incentives. The state assembly already passed the proposal. The governor urging senators on both sides to vote for it as well during the lame duck session. So far, though, no Democrats have said they'll support it. Senate Majority Leader Scott Fitzgerald says a number of Republicans are concerned they would set a precedent for all businesses in danger of closing.
I think there's people that are just like, wow, you know, are we going to have to kind of do the same thing if there's another corporation the size of Kimberly-Clark that suddenly announces some type of closing, plant closing?
The lame duck session could convene as early as next week. There's also talk of moving the 2020 presidential primary from April to March and limiting the governor's power over implementing administrative rules. Tony Evers, the governor-elect, has called the session a final desperate attempt for Republicans to hold on to power.
When we come back, hunting in Wisconsin is often part of a family tradition.
We'll share the touching story of how a Columbia County group is remembering a special hunting buddy, their mom.
The Wisconsin Department of Natural Resources says this year's gun deer season set a record for hunter safety.
3 hunters suffered non-fatal shooting injuries during the hunt earlier this month. That makes it the state's safest gun deer season ever. Milwaukee Journal Sentinel reports there has not been a fatal shooting during the state's gun deer season since 2015, when there were 3. About 576,000 hunters were licensed this season. It is a pleasant mystery in Columbia County. If you've driven by, you might be wondering, what's the story behind that bright orange coat at the cemetery?
Well, tonight we all find out the story behind it. Our Jamie Perez spoke to the people who have never shared this tradition before.
In every town, in every corner of the world, there's a story you don't know about. This story starts with Pete McCormick driving by this cemetery when he saw this.
There was a dog that came out in the road, and the owners across the road were there, and I was taking the dog back, and they said, yep, that family does that each and every year.
Pete has been the Columbia County warden since last fall, but knowing this is an area that prides itself on deer hunting, he stopped by to pay his respects for something he thought was a simple tribute to a community tradition.
Typically be for deer hunting or something of that nature to kind of symbolize the tradition of wearing the orange and being a field.
But why on a grave?
Why on a grave? I don't know.
Pete, if you're watching, this is the real reason this coat rests here every year.
Hey, Mom, miss you.
10 years ago, Kim's mom and Jenny's grandma Vera died. Every year, this coat is placed on her grave at the start of deer hunting season and then removed at the end of the season.
Missed you, Mom. It's just not the same without you.
10 years ago.
She passed away from lung cancer.
Kim says hunting was in her mom's blood.
Well, when we got out our hunting gear that first year, we just held Mom's coat and he started crying and I said, I want to go put it on Mom. And my husband said, well, we can put it on her gravestone.
And so they did, every single year.
It's her same coat she always wore and the same hat she always wore.
It's a story they've never really told anyone.
Didn't do it to get attention for it, we just did it because we missed her.
And they still do. Every day, but with this...
We miss her every deer hunting because she's the one that had brought us all together. And so now we just want to include her every deer season with us.
Vera can share the new memories her family makes every time deer hunting season returns.
When people drive by and they see it, they obviously see that she was a hunter and that, hunting is still a big tradition around here.
A lot of memories created and never forgotten.
As someone who never knew this story, a story that piqued the interest of many people who wondered what that bright orange coat and hat were there for.
And it's about families, friendships, and the tradition of Wisconsin deer hunting.
Deer hunting and the memory that will live on forever.
As long as her coat hangs together, it'll be hanging on her every deer season.
In Columbia County.
Love you, Mom.
Jamie Perez, WISC News 3.
The coat has been removed for the end of deer season this year, but of course will be placed back on the grave at the start of deer hunting season next year.
Still ahead on News 3 at 6 on a day all about giving back to charities. There is a scam to be aware of.
How scammers are tricking people looking to give on this Giving Tuesday. There's a big push today for people to find a little extra holiday cash to give to nonprofits.
That means it's also a big day for scammers looking to profit on your generosity. State consumer protection officials encouraging people to give directly to charities, not using links sent in emails, but by typing the URL into the computer or dialing the phone number directly. You'll also want to watch out for typos. Make sure you're not reversing any numbers or letters in the organization's name. Imposters tend to buy and use web addresses that look similar to the actual charities.
Another thing that consumers should watch for is how the request comes in, who they are to pay. So are they transmitting the money to the person doing the solicitation rather than the organization? So being cautious of that. If there's requests to wire money or pay by gift card to the charity, again, those are indicators that that's not traditional means of receiving funds.
DADCAP says if you get any unsolicited emails with links to donate, don't click on any of those links or attachments. Those may allow scammers to get into your personal information.
Meteorologist Dana Fulton joins us now with a look at your cold forecast.
Cold is definitely the right word. But the good news, though, for the next few days, our temps are going to steadily climb right on up. So it won't be as cold by the end of the week. Overnight, we were hoping to get a break in the clouds today, and that really just didn't happen. So plan on skies becoming partly cloudy for us overnight, slowly and steadily. And then as we get into tomorrow afternoon, unfortunately, that partly cloudy sky doesn't stay with us. The cloud coverage increasing yet again, will be mostly cloudy through much of the afternoon and evening for Wednesday. And then the potential for some light snowfall coming through later in the day on Wednesday and into early Thursday morning. A little more than what we've had over the last few hours. Looking at our Doppler track right now, you can see that little edge, that little blob of some snowfall moving through southern Wisconsin, still lingering towards Milwaukee. We're just outside of Madison, enough that you can certainly see it on the ground, trace amounts, but nothing that was impeding any sort of traffic and not a whole lot of accumulation for us. High pressure still sending a little northwest breeze, now switching to becoming more westerly and then southwest eventually by tomorrow. But overall, things have been fairly mellow for the last few days, just a little cold. Our next front off in the plains right now, that front is going to slide through overnight Wednesday into Thursday. Doesn't have a lot of moisture associated with it, but enough that we are going to get, again, a little bit of snowfall coming through for us overnight Wednesday. With that clearing potential for early in the morning tomorrow, do plan on temps to drop quite a bit. We will be in the teens for early Wednesday morning. Very cold start to the day. Of course, with those wind chills factored in, it's going to feel like we're in the single digits. Throughout the morning, we'll get a little bit of sunshine, but by the afternoon, the clouds build right back on in. Even though afternoon highs will be climbing into the upper 20s, it'll still be A, below average, and B, cloudy outside. We don't get that nice sunshine coming through just yet. Overnight on Wednesday, our snow chances start to come on through. Much of the opportunity for snowfall is going to be north of Madison, but not ruling out the chance really to see snowflakes anywhere early Thursday morning. Throughout the day on Thursday, plan on a mostly cloudy sky. We may still have a few light flurries in the afternoon, but nothing really major expected. Again, trace amounts likely up towards Black River Falls, anywhere from a ½ an inch to upwards of an inch possible. But the heavier snowfall is up to the north. Temps will be in the upper 20s for tomorrow. With the wind chill, we'll feel a little closer to the lower 20s. So we'll feel a little cooler than it actually is outside. That's still below average. So we're just following through our November trend at this point. Overall, the month quite chilly. Downtown right now is cloudy. We didn't get anywhere near to average today, actually hitting a high of about 24. Finally, breaking through the low 20s into the middle 20s for us. Overnight lows will be in the teens tonight, close to 14. Tomorrow we'll be in the upper 20s at 29, and that starts our little itty bitty warming trend towards the end of the week. Close to freezing by Thursday, upper 30s by Friday, and the potential for some heavier rain at times, and then a mix overnight for Saturday and into Sunday, our first weekend of December.
The Badger men's basketball team is back from the Bahamas, and they'll play at the Kohl Center tonight. We'll go there live to preview the Big Ten ACC Challenge against NC State in sports. The Badger men's basketball team is off to a 5-1 start, and tonight they play a team with an even better record. Wisconsin faces 6-0 NC State in the annual Big Ten ACC Challenge. Tip-off tonight just after 8 o'clock at the Kohl Center. That's where we find our Melissa Kim live with a preview. Hi, Melissa.
Well, hi there, Jay. Yeah, the Badgers back in the Wisconsin cold after spending the week in the Bahamas, where tonight here at the Kohl Center, they'll face a completely different style of basketball than they saw against Virginia. That was on Friday. Now, head coach Greg Gard calling that style of basketball more of a half-court fist fight. Expect North Carolina State to play a faster-paced game with a smaller lineup at times, something they haven't really seen so far this season.
Instead of being 60 possessions, it'll be 120. You know, Kevin does a good job of implementing what he wants to do with rotating 10 guys through, playing 94 feet for 40 minutes, trying to speed you up. Some pressure that'll come for the most of the game, and not particularly just a different, it'll have a different feel than what Virginia had in terms of the type of game.
Now, the Badgers are 2-0 all-time against the Wolfpack, with the last meeting coming in 2010. And, Jay, they won that game pretty handily by 37 points.
That's Melissa Kim live at the Kohl Center. Thanks. They started announcing the all Big Ten football teams, and the Wisconsin Badgers didn't have a whole lot of guys getting recognition on defense today, but linebacker T.J. Edwards was selected to the first-team defense by the media, second team by the coaches. Edwards was 6th in the Big Ten in tackles this season with 104. Second straight year, Edwards was named first-team All-Big Ten. Andrew Van Ginkel and Dakota Dixon were also second-team picks by the coaches. Northwestern's Pat Fitzgerald was named the Big Ten Football Coach of the Year. The offensive awards are announced tomorrow. The Packers' next two games are at home, starting this Sunday against the Arizona Cardinals at noon. There's been so much negativity around the now 4-6-1 Packers, but as Mike McCarthy would say, how about something positive? Running back Aaron Jones has emerged as one of the best in the league. 101 carries this season. He's averaging 6 yards an attempt, which has been leading the NFL. For Mike McCarthy, it's welcome relief to be able to talk about something good. In fact, in this soundbite, he'll say the word positive twice.
You know, our yards per carry is the highest in that stadium in the last 2 years. You know, so that's definitely a positive. You know, against those guys, I think we're 63% win of the run downs. So I mean, so you build off those things. I mean, there's always good things, and I'm just shocked that I get to talk about something positive here.
And in last night's Houston Texans win over the Tennessee Titans, J.J. Watt had another sack and a half, giving him 11.5 in the season. That's more than anyone in the AFC. Last year at this time, they weren't sure Watt would even play again after 2 injury-plagued seasons. Now he's a leading candidate for Comeback Player of the Year, maybe even Defensive Player of the Year. And all 3 Watt brothers are probably going to be in the playoffs. You know, Derek with the Chargers, TJ with the Steelers, and JJ with the Texans.
But are you positive about that?
I am absolutely positive.
Okay.
No question.
Right.
Final check of your forecast, Dana Fulton.
It is cold outside. We do still have some light flurries lingering for some areas right now, just trace amounts for us tonight. Temperatures will be in the upper 20s tomorrow. That warming trend carries us towards the end of the week, which is some good news. We'll be in the low 30s for Thursday, with the snow chance kind of in the morning, dying down a little bit for the afternoon, but we may see a few isolated flurries in the evening. Variably cloudy on Friday in the upper 30s, and then by the weekend, we are in the 40s, which is nice for Saturday, so we'll have a rain event sliding on through, but as we cool down overnight, that rain may mix with some snowfall for us heading into Sunday.
All right. Dana, thank you. Thanks for joining us for News 3 at 6.
Enjoy your evening, and we'll see you back here at 10.
Download the new Channel 3000 app and get alerted on your mobile device the minute news breaks. Wherever you go, be the first to know with Channel 3000.